Hello, my name's John Sermon. I'm a church leader based in the UK. And early in the coronavirus pandemic, during our first lockdown here in the UK, I started recording videos to encourage people. And I'm recording this one on Monday the 19th of July, so-called Freedom Day here in the UK, when nearly all our restrictions, legally at least, have been relaxed. In terms of good practice and advice, we're still being urged to be extremely cautious, and we do know that there's been a terrific and very worrying rise in infection rates, hospitalisations, and sadly, although the deaths are still much lower than they were earlier in the pandemic, they are also going up. And so if I'm to offer you some encouragement, where would it come from? Well, amongst other things, we are able to be a little bit more expressive, for example, to sing together in church worship. We may not necessarily continue with our face masks in many situations that we were doing, but we'd be wise still to continue in indoor and crowded settings where appropriate. We know that this is not over. On the other hand, our situation is far less serious than some we know of in other countries, and I'm particularly concerned still for the people of Uganda, where I have strong contacts through a charity called Romans 111 Trust. And I know that the Ugandan situation is very serious at the moment. Vaccinations have not reached anything like the level they have in this country. Against all that background, where do we go from here? Well, I want to encourage you that the best answer we can take to ourselves is we've got to keep trusting God. And I know it could sound like a cop-out, but honestly it isn't. The reality is God doesn't promise to protect us from illness or from a pandemic or from all kinds of circumstances. And over all the centuries, many of the followers of Jesus Christ have suffered persecution and all sorts of horrific stuff. And that was, in some cases, specifically because they are Christians. And it still is today in many countries. So we can't assume that following the Lord Jesus Christ, giving your life to God through Jesus, being aware of God's presence, will protect you from all things that might go wrong, including potentially catching COVID-19. Of course not. But what we can trust, honestly, is that if we put our faith in Jesus Christ, He will bring us through in some way or another, even for those for whom it may be death. There'd be the promise of His closer presence thereafter. And that's reassuring for those of us left behind. And I say that not lightly, having had a significant bereavement in this period myself. My dad died at the beginning of the pandemic. My father-in-law later in the pandemic. My mum a few years ago, so I'm now an orphan. Okay, that seems strange at my age, but I've done well to get this far with one or both parents still alive. But it's not a flippant thing, but it is a reality beyond what we can immediately see. Yes, we know our physical circumstances. Our spiritual circumstances can be so much bigger and in some cases different wholly from our limited perception as human beings. And I can honestly encourage you, trust in God through Jesus Christ, and He will get us through. God bless you.